In a South Korean lab, they have a machine born from biology, and the UK is to set new social media laws, along with people questioning the reality of mirrors. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to some of the more unusual and strange clips that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
If this is true, then we are all dead. Theories that got people killed. They were kidnapping kids and experimenting on their minds, and no one talks about it. This is Montauk Air Force Base in New York, which is now abandoned, but it wasn't a very long time ago. Many locals still claim to hear strange noises coming from this building now, but especially back in the 70s and 80s when this was happening. Now, if any of you have seen Stranger Things, which I'm sure a lot of you have, this is actually one of the main things that inspired that show. With many people who went missing and the sounds that were heard and deformities in the area, they believed they were doing human tests on people and they were not humane. Trying to achieve psychic warfare and actually attempt teleportation. And even in recent years, there's been these deformed creatures washing up on the shores, very much like what happens in this program. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This guy is Preston Nichols, who apparently worked on the project. There was a lot of different information that started coming out, and he was essentially a whistleblower bringing this to light. And he pretty much came out and confirmed everything that people have been thinking to be true, as far as time travel, brainwashing, everything. But very shortly after he came out with this information, he randomly died, and there was no information on what happened to him, no autopsy, nothing. It just went completely silent and everything was censored. So what do you think genuinely happened in this place? Was it just random, or was there a lot more to it? This is going to get far crazier, so I will see you in the next one.
I have heard about this place before, and I'm not saying that this place was doing those secret experiments, but I am saying that if there is a place like that doing those experiments, or if that place was doing those experiments, which I definitely believe that there is secret experiments going on somewhere, they probably are doing it in a more modern way. There's no longer need for a building anymore for people to do experiments if they have the technology to basically tap into someone's brain through Wi-Fi or other means. But let me know what you guys think about this place and if you think that they were actually doing secret experiments there.
The clip that I'm about to show you is pretty unnerving, and I don't recommend watching it at night. So if it's nighttime, save this for the daytime. There is a creator on here that has one video on their account, and it's a lot. It's creepy. It's very creepy. So in the caption of this video or on the screen, they say that they just recently moved very close to the woods, and at their door every single night they are hearing the exact same sound. And this video of this sound at their door is the only video, at the time of me filming this at least, that they have posted. So let's look at that video. Guys, it is tricky living near the woods. Not everyone's gonna have an experience that lives there, but you are more likely to have a creepy experience living in the woods, I swear.
I don't know if this is real or not, but if this is real, that's actually terrifying. Could you imagine being woken up by a noise like that?
Have you guys heard of the Labubu toys?
Yes, I have.
The viral Labubu doll.
They look like that thing from Star Wars.
They're called mischievous forest elf, and they live in the land of the monsters.
Got it.
Some people are making the connection that Labubu and the way it looks and sounds just like this king of the demons from the Babylonian era called Pazuzu. It's basically this whole play on Pazuzu, who's the king of the demons, and then you have Labubu, who has a lot of features that look like Pazuzu.
Have you seen the Simpsons connection?
Yeah, basically he ordered it on like Amazon or something, came in as Pazuzu,
Thought it was pizza.
gave it to the baby as like a toy.
You'll be here in the dark with Pazuzu.
The baby was demon possessed.
That's a weird connection.
I am Pazuzu.
Yeah, this was like
That's-
7 years ago too that this came out.
And that looks just like a happy little pack animal. It looks like it would just be in like a little tree village. You know what toys are going to be in my house one day is Army Men and Lincoln Logs. That's it.
In an iPad.
Yeah.
I have still yet to buy a Pazuzu. I review or a Labubu. Yeah, I refuse to buy a Labubu. Hey, I get it. I'm a collector of things. I like collecting things, but it will always amaze me on how hype people get over certain things like this. I do not see any need for it, but then again, I don't have no need for half the stuff that's behind me. But I at least enjoy that stuff. A Pazuzu or a Labubu, no thank you. But let me know in the comments, have any of you purchased a Labubu yet? Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video like this every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. and I want to thank everyone for supporting the channel.
Hello friends. What if in the future there's a group of humans that figures out that there's a cyclical cataclysm coming and they need to escape it? These cataclysms serve as like a reset within the simulator. They discover that we're in a simulator for consciousness development. It's a virtual reality-like world, and that you don't escape physically. The goal is to ascend and graduate spiritually. But this elite group of transhumanists don't care anything about that. They want to escape death, and they want to survive this incoming cataclysm. So they decide, since they can't leave physically, they can't just go to another star system because the sky is holographic. So what they can do is they can go back in time in this realm, and they can cheat death that way. Ooh, pretty smart. Well, how are they going to do this? Well, because they have anti-gravity devices. That's what these Tic Tacs and flying saucers and everything are. And what Einstein taught us is that space and time are intrinsically linked. It's a continuum. So when you manipulate space, you manipulate time. So if you have an anti-gravity or a gravity manipulation device or craft, it's going to also manipulate time. So they figure out we can go back in time. So they find a safe place in the past and they establish their civilization, right? That's Atlantis. These are the Atlanteans. That's why our ancient past seems so advanced and futuristic, because they came from the future. They're trying to escape something in the future, so they escaped to the past because they can't leave here. Because I think what happened is, in their quest for immortality and to stay in this physical plane forever, they severed their connection to source. And you don't want to do that. It's like playing a virtual reality game and getting stuck in it and forgetting there's a real world and existing forever in that virtual reality game. You're not meant to do that. It's not good. So at a certain point, you would try to escape. And I think that's what these beings are doing. So say they went all the way back in time and they are the Atlanteans. Well, then their goal would be, now that they know there's these cyclical cataclysms, is to keep humanity alive throughout all of them, because if humanity ceases to exist, then they cease to exist. It's the whole bootstrap paradox. But also they want to improve their situation, because obviously there was something that they did wrong along the way, or they wouldn't be escaping, they wouldn't be stuck in this this game, right? So it's like they are, you know, when you look at all the ancient tales of the Great Deluge and any, you know, great cataclysm, there's always stories of people coming out of the ocean or from the sky, the Anunnaki, Quetzalcoatl, the sky people, that come down and alert somebody or some people about an upcoming cataclysm, give them the means to survive it, and then after the cataclysm, help them restart their civilization. This is exactly what we would see from people like the Atlanteans, which would be future humans, who are trying to keep all the humans alive. The same reason, like if we went back in time to the caveman days, we would never go back there and wipe out all the cavemen, because if we wiped out all the people, then we wouldn't exist. So we want to make sure the people survive while also manipulating the timelines to try to get to a better outcome for themselves, maybe even trying to reconnect themselves to source so that they can escape this physical realm spiritually. I think that's what's going on. That would explain all of these crazy things that we're seeing. It kind of pulls it all together in some weird way. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
I do like the theory that if the Anunnaki are a real thing, that they're probably from the future. But I do not think that it's to better mankind personally. I think that if these Anunnaki or whatever they really were traveled back in time, they did it for their own personal gain. Probably because they were worshipped like gods. If they brought back some sort of technology with them that made other people's lives easier, almost made them seem like gods, then they were probably treated like gods. So I personally think that if the Anunnaki did exist, they were very wealthy people that decided that they've had enough money, enough technology, that they're going to go back in time and be treated like gods. That would be a theory that I would believe more than this if the Anunnaki were actually real. Because if the Anunnaki came to help us survive certain cataclysms, you would think that they would still stick around to this day because they have all of the knowledge of history. But he asked us what I thought about this situation, and that was my reply. Let me know what you guys think about the Anunnaki.
Can anyone explain to me, how does the mirror know that there's an egg behind the paper? Because there actually is.
How does the mirror see what you're doing when you are blocking the reflection? This has been going crazy viral with hundreds and hundreds of videos all across social media of people doing this. People literally freaking out, wondering how the hell this works. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure how people didn't know this, but here we go anyway. You stand in front of a mirror, you can see yourself, of course, it's visible. Block it with something and of course you can't see yourself, but around the side, you can. Gotta remember, light is being bounced off this in multiple directions. Even though your direct line of view is not visible, all of the rest of the areas where the light is bouncing off is visible. Being of course a reflective surface, the light bounces off in multiple different ways, so if you're here, you're gonna see it. It's only if you're right in this position, you're not gonna see directly in your line of sight. Again, if you're confused, this is quite a good analogy to see exactly how this actually works. So let me know your thoughts on this, and if you didn't know this, drop down below.
Man, this trend has been coming back up on my TikTok feed like crazy. I remember when this was going on a couple of years ago, and I thought it was a joke, but I'm pretty certain people are serious. I'm sorry to say, but the mirror doesn't know that there's anything there. It's just simply reflecting light.
I feel like a new fear has been unlocked for me at the Grand Canyon. I mean, as the Grand Canyon is beautiful and it's amazing, but it's dangerous. And you really can fall to your... But now we have giant centipedes to worry about. Like, this thing is huge, and it's captured what appears to be a pretty good-sized bat. Like, what? And no, this is not AI, it's a real centipede. Take a look at this footage, comment below, tell me what you think.
That's a big It's a centipede. Yeah. That's a good sized bat too. Look at it.
Nature is terrifying, and that's a strong centipede. Half of it's on the rock and half of it's off of the rock holding the bat. That is actual nightmare fuel right there.
There is no freaking way. Countries can now sue each other for climate change, according to a new bombshell ruling by the International Court of Justice. Bro, are they trying to start new wars? Now, under this new ruling, nations across the globe can be held legally responsible, not just for what they're doing today, but also for their emissions and pollutions for the past decades. The ICJ ruled the right to have a healthy and sustainable environment is equal to other human rights. It's not clear if the world's two biggest polluters, China and the USA, can even be touched, because conveniently, neither of them recognize the ICJ's jurisdiction, and it's their ruling. So the question is, are countries finally going to be held accountable, or will this ruling not be respected by the countries that make the biggest difference?
I personally do not believe that it's going to be respected, but we'll see. And I really want to know is how are they going to hold who accountable, and how are they going to prove the accountability?
All right, we're cooked. Somewhere in a South Korean lab, a new form of life is taking shape. Encased in a shell of hydrophobic particles, this shape-shifting droplet is soft yet nearly indestructible. It survives high-impact drops, squeezes through impossible gaps, and glides over land and water without a sound. Controlled by ultrasound, it follows commands, precise, obedient, but always moving. Researchers believe it could navigate the human body, deliver medicine, or explore disaster zones. A machine born from technology. And this is only the beginning.
Particle armored liquid robots. Squishy, smart, spooky. Have these guys never seen a sci-fi movie? I think we know how this script ends. What are your thoughts? Should we call it awesome or freaky?
I would call it awesome. It's a cool concept, and it could be very handy depending on how it's utilized. It's like real life flubber.
If you live in the UK, you're about to lose all social media and have a curfew imposed on you. If you're under 16 in the UK or know someone who is, you're gonna need to see this. It's been in the headlines worldwide for a while now. Should under 16s or under 18s not even be allowed on social media altogether? Now, in breaking news in the last couple of days, in the UK, they are set to announce a 2-hour screen time limit and a curfew for UK kids. First of all, what they're trying to do is add a 2-hour cap per platform, so you'll be able to use each of these for 2 hours a day, and then after that, you can't use it anymore. Which, yeah, let me know if you think that's a good idea or not. But on top of that, they are then wanting to impose this curfew. Now let me explain what that is. What this means is at about 10 o'clock at night, kids will not be allowed to get on their phones or social media. The app and the phone probably physically will not let them do so. They are trying to do this in order to get kids to get more sleep so they're prepared for school or whatever they're doing the next day. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of people uprising about this, saying, no, this isn't fair, like kids need to learn how to use it and not be controlled. But you could be about to lose your social media scrolling at 2 in the morning, so I'll keep you posted on this. Let me know your thoughts.
Well, one thing is for certain, even if they do implement this law, I have a feeling kids will figure out a way to go around it. More likely, you could probably just use a VPN. You could just switch your network to a different country at a different time zone, and you would be able to use the internet as if you weren't even in your own country. Now, I do not know if the UK has laws or ways to measure if people are doing that, but I kinda doubt it. I mean, I'm not saying that I disagree with this act either. I think that it's a good thing to limit a kid, especially a child, a very young kid's time on a cell phone or a tablet. But ultimately, I think that it should be the parents' or the guardian's choice whether their kids should use their phone or not, especially if the parents or the guardians are the ones that are paying for those devices. Kinda sucks to have something that you're paying for that cannot even be utilized at its fullest potential, unless you're okay with those laws. Well, let me know what you guys think about this. This is pretty bizarre, but I do see the good in it as well.
What in tarnation is corn sweat, and why is it making Midwest summers feel even hotter, and areas in what we would typically call the Deep South even more humid than they used to be? It's intensifying an already intense heat wave, but I do find it to be a fascinating topic. In short, corn sweat is the aspiration or corn breathing the water out into the air as part of its biological processes after it's been industrially irrigated. Just one, as you can see the pop-up here, just 1 acre of corn in the Midwest can generate between 3,000 and 4,000 gallons of water per day just sweating, just respirating, just releasing water vapor directly through their stomata. It's called evapotranspiration, and it's essentially the plant's way of breathing. The Weather Channel and even local areas in the Midwest are putting out warnings about this. You can see the regions that it's spreading to here, because it's not just limited to regions with high corn production. We're obviously irrigating the devil out of those regions, and we are just absolutely pushing our corn production to the maximum. They're not just cute little fields. Corn production in the US isn't just like independent farmers and cute little fields. A lot of it is industrially irrigated with thousands upon thousands of gallons of water, so the corn has plenty of to sweat out and evaporate, and it's going to blow eastward because our wind typically moves west to east in the United States, at least broadly speaking, and other states that aren't even growing corn are getting absolutely hammered by the heat and humidity. And it's really just an increase in the humidity is what we're talking about here, sort of the heat index. You know, if it's expected to be around 95 to 100 degrees, with the heat index, it can feel closer to 110 and put you closer toward those wet bulb temperatures that are very, very dangerous. And we're not going to be changing this anytime soon because America needs its corn. We make a bajillion things out of corn. We like our corn, but it does have some unintended side effects. I found this particular article to be very amusing and entertaining, and it gives me some perspective on what geoengineering problems would really look like, because our irrigation is causing geoengineering problems.
And it makes sense as to why it's so hot around my house, because I live basically in the middle of a cornfield, and it is humid. And that also explains why in the morning I see just a low layer of fog above the corn. It's probably all the vapor that this corn is sweating out. Very interesting. Hey, you learn something new every day, at least I do. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me, and with that being said, have a good day.